I've done most of the things in
Okay, we have four, you all can sit down. We have 4 questions for the presidential candidates. I'll read the order first twice, and then I will read the questions twice. And the order for the first, oh, you have a minute and 30 seconds to respond, like 15 seconds, 30 seconds will raise a sign, especially when your time expires. The order for the first question is Josh, Eunice, Chad, Noah, Talya. Josh, Eunice, Chad, Noah, Talya. First question is, Intercollegiate Athletics has received more than $100 million in central campus support in the last 2 decades, a significant amount of which has consisted of student registration fees. In your view, what is the proper utilization of student fees in general, and how would you create leverage with the administration to enforce those views? I'm going to read it one more time. In your view, what is the proper utilization of student fees in general, and how would you create leverage with the administration to enforce those views? Josh, do you have administration?
Okay, I believe student fees should be 0, and everyone should support whatever they want and shouldn't have to support any program or student group that they don't want to.
Thank you. Eunice, you have a minute and 30 seconds.
I actually believe that student registration fees should be going towards programs that support all students, that enrich our campus life. I believe the athletics department does do that. I think it's great for us to have a really great football team. I mean, if you win a couple games now and then, that's awesome, right? But honestly, I don't think student registration fees should be going towards the athletics department when it's financially irresponsible. It's not a popular view, but in this fiscal climate, we can't just make popular decisions. And I really believe that the ASUC needs to take a step in making these unpopular decisions. That's gonna help us in the end, because we need to make these hard fiscal decisions right now. The athletics department has a deficit every year. It can make cuts. The student registration fees that's going towards the athletics department, it does not go towards scholarships. It does not go towards anything that is considered a necessity. The director actually came in and spoke to us, and we questioned her when we were trying to pass this bill. A couple of us were trying to pass this bill, and I think it's kind of a shame that people, they cringe in horror every time we say, oh, we have to, divest, not divest, sorry, big word. We have to take out this money from the athletics department because they're so scared of what that means. It's 1% of the budget. It's a part of the budget. It's for students. It's $70, I believe, if that's the proper number. But it's a significant amount of money that people could be using to pay for groceries. For low-income students, they could be using that money to pay for groceries. And it's going towards. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry? Oh, okay. Well, that's a great question. It doesn't address a lot of the issues that we have going on in the ASUC right now. What about the student fees that the ASUC charges to students, which amounts to more than $200 a year? What are we going to do about that? The ASUC currently gets about... we all know where we are. The ASUC has 2 sources of income, right?
3.
It's fees. And the commercial activities are, let's just abbreviate with the store operations board. Now fees, no one likes those, of course. And, well, that acronym just makes students do what that acronym implies. So what can we fundamentally do to change this? Well, right now we're facing a deficit unlike any other. In terms of a monetary value, the ASUC has lost a lot of money in the last 4 years. And frankly, I'm a little disappointed that a lot of the other candidates are very introverted in terms of their perspective and lack an institutional memory of what the ASUC has done over the last 4 years. And in order to actively engage the issues and work out a solution, we need to understand what the ASUC has done in the past and where it's going to go in the future in the long-term perspective. Not just where it's going for the next, whatever year or whatever term we have. So let's go back to 2006. It's a good starting point. We'll get a 5-year plan going. One party decided to charge the ASUC's legal fees for... Oh, chill, bro. All right. I got a minute. All right, I got 7 minutes to get this out. Go on, we'll do it.
No, sorry.
Again, my name is Noah Stern, and I'm running to be your next ASUC President. Of course, we all know that student fees need to go to vital student services. We need to be paying to make sure that there's no long lines at Tank Center. We need to be making sure that we have more sections for our classes. We need to be making sure that every single student can get the best education they're paying for. And we need to make sure that we're involved in that decision-making process, so if budget cuts are being made, the administration is asking students. As a senator, I facilitated a budget cut roundtable where the administration came in and students were asked, what do you think? What do you want to hear? What do you want to see? And they were able to ask our administration, why did you make that decision? Why were those cuts made? We need to have that conversation. We need to be involved. It needs to be our education. It is our education too, and we need to be involved in the process. I also want to make sure that we're hearing the student voice. As a senator, I created a website called California Cuts. The focus of this website was to go out into the community and ask students, how have you been affected? What's concerning you? What do you need to see? And as president, I plan to use that information that I've organized from students and pressure our administration, push them to make sure our concerns are heard. I also believe we need to know that every single student on this campus has different interests. Some are athletes. Athletes are students too. We can't be taking money away from our athletes because they're students just like us, and they work to represent you every single day. Now, as president, I want to make sure. Go Bears is right. As president, I want to make sure that we're protecting our vital services and supporting every single student on this campus so we can get the best education possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Talya. I'm running with the Defend Affirmative Action Party. And I have to agree with some of the things said about the athletics department taking away money from students' fees is just simply not fair. A lot of students of low income or can't receive financial aid are working hard for their money and may not see any of the benefit from the funding to these athletic departments. In fact, I was under the impression the athletics department should be bringing in money to the students and not taking money away from them. So the way that we are going to leverage this issue is by building a united student movement to eliminate the fees and make education free. This is not impossible. This was under the master plan in the 1960s, and the administration has just been adding more and more fees, and they're trying to start to call it a tuition. No, education should be free and public, and that's what public education means. So what I'm going to be doing as president is making a call out for every student on this campus and universities outside of this campus and in the nation to be building a movement to Washington to demand federal financial assistance to public education, because education is a priority and a right to all students no matter what, and that's where we need to get our funding for all of our institutional needs and educational needs.
Thank you. The order for the second question is Talya, Noah, Eunice, Chad, Josh. Talya, Noah, Eunice, Chad, Josh. What is the purpose of the presidential veto? Should personal beliefs or procedural shortcomings take precedence when determining whether a veto is warranted? What is the purpose of the presidential veto? Should personal beliefs or procedural shortcomings take precedence when determining whether a veto is warranted?
I'm very glad to answer that question because I know it's such a heated matter right now with the divestment bill. So as principle, I stand on principle and the principle of democracy. That means that when the Senate votes for something 16-4, I do not veto that bill, no matter what my personal beliefs are. As a president, though, I do want to take initiative in talking to the Senate when the bill is on the floor and getting in the input that is needed to represent the student body. And that is as far as I will take it in my involvement with the bill. I will not veto it.
As president, I don't think my political beliefs really matter. What matters are the political beliefs of the student body, making sure that every single student on our campus feels comfortable being represented by the ASUC. Senators have different responsibilities. They cater to their communities, but as president, it's the entire student body. And we have to remember that any veto that might come up would be against the majority. Otherwise, the bill wouldn't have passed in the first place. So it's important to realize that the presidential veto can be exercised to make sure that a stance that the ASUC takes is inclusive of our entire campus.